Hi, everybody. This is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Survivalist on the show. I have got Taylor and Gavin. How are you, lads?
All good, man. Richie?
Ah, cool.
All good.
Yeah, so Gavin, you're the singer, and Taylor, you play bass. And
Yes.
I must say, I've just only discovered you through Tombs, that you played with Metal to the Masses on, because they were raving about you when they came on the show. What were your kind of thoughts going into the Metal to the Masses? Because was that like kind of maybe your first or second or third gig, or had you played much before that?
First gig, man.
Was it really?
First gig, yeah.
Yeah, so Metal to the Masses was the first gig that we did. We went in with no expectations. We had been practicing for 7 to 8 months prior and writing at the Attic Studios in Belfast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, like I said, we went in with no expectations. We literally wanted to go in to play the best show that we could. And we went up, we played with some fantastic bands, with Tunes, Elton, Molar Bear, 3 very good bands, 3 established bands as well. So
exactly, yeah.
We are
all a good bunch of lads as well.
Yeah, fantastic. All of them absolutely spot on. Really, like they were all really accommodating the whole time we were there. But we just didn't expect the response that we got from the crowd, especially with the genre mixes, because obviously we are metalcore and they're all very doomy. You've got a lot of sludge mixture and stuff in there, and then you've got Molar Bear, who are just really groovy, hard metal, like
riffs everywhere.
Yeah, big mixture of bags. So we just didn't have high expectations, and it was phenomenal. The gig was unbelievable. The crowd were fantastic as well.
Yeah, I mean, what was the crowd like? Was it? Did you come on first, second, or what way did it pan out?
Third we came on, so it is, but we did not expect the crowd that we got, like especially for our first gig, like the amount of people who came out. Of course there was friends, but there was a lot of faces we didn't know.
Yeah.
And like it was amazing. Like
it's great.
For a first gig, it was an absolute dream. Like
it's great because I mean straight away, like you converted a shitload of people there that never heard you before, you know.
The crowd were incredibly engaged the whole way through the performance as well. We had a lot of people. There's a clip, if you watch the live video, where I actually say, "You all know the words to this song."
That's right, yeah.
And Tom kind of looked at me a little bit bewildered, like, "Do they?" And they did. Yeah, they carried me through the chorus, and the whole crowd were singing back to us, and it was incredible. Yeah,
that's really, incredible, really. Especially since like you weren't expecting that as well. I mean, that would really confirm that you're doing something right, lads, wouldn't it?
Beyond our wildest. Crazy.
We also got one of our friends was there, and he actually got lifted and thrown onto the crowd. So we had a crowd surfer, which is pretty fun.
I thought you said he was going to get lifted. He got lifted by the cops.
That was after.
For those that don't know much about you, can you give us a kind of an overview on how the band came together? Maybe you, Taylor, first. And how did you?
See, I've been friends with Gavin for a very, very long time, and we've been in a few bands together down the years, but nothing compared to this.
Okay.
And for some reason, we had spoke for a while, and then he messaged me one day. He was just like, "What are you doing? Would you like to be in a band?" And I was like, "Mate, I just got rid of all my guitars there and all. Like, I sold everything. I thought it was done with it." So I was like, "Hold on," and I literally sprinted across to the nearest guitar shop, about 5 minutes back with a bass guitar. It's like, right, let's go.
Fuck.
That's how I came into the band.
Okay, over to you, Gav.
Yeah, so we started back in June 2019. I put a post up on a site called Join My Band, saying that I was interested in just playing metal. No specific genre. I listen to pretty much everything from metalcore to death metal to you name it. I listen to it, hardcore, everything. So I wasn't fussed. I just wanted to get back into music. And like Taylor said, we've been in bands and stuff before together, but nothing ever kind of went anywhere. So I first got approached by Daryl, the drummer, and he used to be in I See Blind. And Daryl and I chatted for a bit, saying that we would get something going, you know, we would find other musicians. And then I got messaged by Stu, Stu's ex-Donum Day, along with Tom. Now, Stu had said that Tom was out of the country, but he wanted to come back, and he was looking to obviously write some metal. And we pretty much went from there. We started a WhatsApp group, the four of us, me, Daryl, Stu, and Tom. Just got talking. We arranged a meetup one night. We actually went to Tom's Grands, and we started jamming a bit at Tom's Grands. And for myself, it was really strange because I've always been a guitarist in bands.
Oh, right, okay.
Nah, I've never been a singer for a band. I've done a bit of backup vocals and stuff, but I've never been a frontman. So this was a whole new kettle of fish for me. So yeah, we got together, and then Taylor, we asked Taylor to come to the second practice, I think it was. So we were just we practiced at Tom's once, and then we got a room at the attic, and we practiced there once, and then we realized, you know, we're going to need a bassist here. So then Taylor joined, and from there it's pretty much a three. We've just been writing solidly. We wrote a load of tunes. We didn't think they were good enough. We then reworked all the tunes, and the sounds that we have now and our sound is the result of the hard work from everybody that's in the band.
Now, can I interrupt you there? In relation to the style of music, I presume you all are probably a mixed bag, but predominantly metal lovers, obviously. How did you evolve from those early days to what you have now?
In terms of the band?
Yes, in terms of the band, yeah, like the sound, you know?
We're all fans of metalcore. We're all in the same wavelength. We like all the sort of same influences. You know, somebody's blasting a riff. It's like, fuck yes, that's amazing. But you know, the Kill Switch, August Burns Red, As I Lay Dying, that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
And then because everyone loves it, like, and you know, I grew up with like really early Kill Switch albums when they came out.
Okay.
They were a real inspiration. You know, metalcore was at its peak when I was really getting into metal.
Yeah.
So that's always been the music I sort of wanted to play.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Gav? Were you kind of happy with the direction it was going, especially as a vocalist?
Yeah, so I wasn't fussed on the genre at all. I didn't mind what genre we ended up with, as long as we had something. I really wanted something where I was going to be able to do cleans and screams. Specifically with cleans, I like big choruses. I like melody. I like having a catchy hook where people can kind of grab it and sing along to it. I like that. I like a music where a crowd can engage with it.
Yeah.
You don't really get a lot of that in death metal, and you know, I love death metal as much as the next person, but there's just not that engagement as there is with the likes of metalcore and other things. So Tom would write the majority of the riffs, and then Stu and Taylor and Daryl sort of structure them all together. Four guys work together to get everything structured out, and just as they were doing it, it was a natural progression to our sound. There was never anything forced. It was just what was written and what kind of came. We never went in with an agenda. We just went in wanting to make good music, and the sound that we came out with is what we have now.
In Which I Envy, was that one of the first songs that you worked on, and did it kind of go through a few different changes, or?
I think that was the first.
Envy was the first song that we worked on in terms of production, but was actually one of the later songs that we wrote. We kind of didn't know what song we were going to go in to record when we first went in with Josh, so we practiced and practiced and practiced, and then when we got Envy down, we realized that, you know, this is going to be a song for people to sing along to. It's the big chorus. It opens with a chorus. It's exactly what people are looking for in metalcore. So we went with Envy as opposed to any of the other tracks.
Yeah, and it's a brilliant track as well. Who thought up of the name Survivalist?
I was that before my time.
Yeah, so Survivalist it wasn't actually supposed to be the band's name. It was supposed to be a working title. So I was actually in work one day, and I used to work for another company that I don't work for anymore, obviously. But I seen a DVD one day just called Survivalist, and that's where the name came from. It came from a DVD front cover, but it was a working title at first, and then the more we kind of used it, the more it felt comfortable, if you know what I mean. The more we kind of referred to the band as Survivalist, and it's the title that ended up being apt, and especially now with the current climate that we're in, it's an appropriate name.
I think it's a brilliant name. I really do, and it's one that you'd remember straight away as well. The T-shirts, then I'm actually wearing it for those that can't visually see what we're talking about. The artwork on the back, I was looking, I couldn't find the person who did that actually. So if you want to give him a shout out on Facebook and stuff, whatever, because there's no clear artist down who did it, you know?
Yeah, so there's a couple of posts on Instagram and a couple of older posts on our Facebook when we initially got the artwork. We had actually hired somebody else, but what he came back with wasn't what we wanted. So we ended up going with a very old friend of Taylor and I's. He's actually friends with most of the band. His name's Grant, Grant Ferrin. Incredibly talented artist. He's currently doing an apprenticeship for tattooing as well with another friend of mine, Jamie. But yeah, I think moving forward as well, Grant will be the man that we use, because we gave him a very short time frame. He didn't have a very long time to get the art together, and what he gave to us all was more than what we expected again, was.
Yeah, it's a fantastic design. I love looking at art, especially in metal. It's a really important part of a band's image as well, is to have something that'll catch the eye, and fair play to them for doing a great job on that. You have decided on the album name, which is 7. Or is it an album or an EP? Sorry. An album. I thought it was. How many songs on it? Is there 5?
So I'll let you guess how many songs are on
it.
7. Way!
Yeah, that's it.
Class, okay.
I don't want to really be obvious.
I was trying to outthink you there. I was thinking something to do with the movie 7, Darkness. That's a great show if you've all seen it.
Oh, amazing. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. So that's cool.
You aren't. What? You're too far away from that, from the concept there. So obviously the movie 7 is based on serial killers and 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
The album, if you think about the names of the tracks that have been released so far, we've got In Which I Envy, Pride Brings Ruination.
Actually. Greed and Upset. Hey man, did I stumble across something there?
Only a few people have actually caught on as well so far. So
fucking hell. Well done me. I'm delighted with that. I'll have another beer there for that one.
There you go.
So, Josh, how did that come about?
You were the first one to come into contact with Josh about doing it?
No, it was Tom. So we were all talking about it, and we had all kind of settled that we were going to use Josh. We just didn't know when we were going to. Yeah. And we kind of got to the point where we were ready to record at least 1 or 2 tracks, you know. And we ended up, Tom just messaged us one night on the group chat and was like, "Do you just want to go and record a track?" We're like, "Yeah, get it booked." And Tom literally messaged him, and about 10 minutes later, Josh messaged back and said, you know, "Yeah, 100%, get you in. This is your date." And then we just practiced the song that we were going to do solidly pretty much up until then. But the night before we actually went in to record our first track with him, we were in practicing so that we were obviously ready for the morning after to lay down. And Josh's studio is in the same building as where we
Oh,
practice.
very handy.
So Josh,
Yep.
we were the only metal band in that night, and the other bands were like funk bands and some jazz bands and rock bands and stuff. And then Josh put up a post on the Facebook the night before. He had no idea, and he put up a post on Facebook saying, "Whoever's in the Attic Studios practicing right now, can you please contact me and get into the studio?" And we were all sitting in the practice room laughing our heads off. And eventually we let the comments and stuff go, and then eventually we messaged them just saying, "Yeah, it's us. We'll be in
See you
tomorrow."
Brilliant. What did Josh bring to your sound?
Just made it sound beaten. Like, it's unbelievable. The tunes and now we've learnt off them what he's recorded, like how to get those tunes, and he just made it, like Gav said earlier, just sound better than what we thought it actually did. Because when you practice it over and over again, it can get sort of in your mind. It's like, doesn't sound as good as the first time. When you hear it back recorded for the first time, it's like, wow,
Yeah,
just massive sound. Like all of those songs, unbelievable.
Creatively wise, does he bring much to the band with ideas as well? Or are you more or less set in stone when you go in? Can he influence you to some degree?
Yeah.
He's a few, yeah, but it's never been like, right lads, that sounds terrible, how about this? It's always, what if I just threw in this? And sometimes, like most of the time, it's sounded amazing,
Yeah, of course.
And being your friend, we accept that sort of constructive criticism, or if he thinks anything better goes,
Yeah, I mean, like, how long is he's doing that since 2007, is it? I might be right. I think it's around 2007 he started off.
I think that sounds about right, because I think that's when we had our first sort of band.
Yeah.
Like, it was nothing big. It was like a Trivium sort of style band.
Okay. And
that was our main influence.
For me, Josh is kind of like the sixth member of the band.
Okay, cool.
We always bring our ideas and music and sound to Josh, and we lay it down. And not once has Josh ever been like, "This is terrible, you need to change this." He's always been fully on board with what we brought to him. And like Taylor said, sometimes he'll be like, "What about doing this or doing that?" And sometimes we take the ideas on board, sometimes we don't. It's literally just creative opinions, but it's never anything that's ever caused any issues at all. The recording process is always super fluid, and that is just down to Josh's, how good he is, like just how professional he is whenever it comes to it. Watching the guy work is like watching magic. And
that's high praise indeed.
Yeah, 100%.
He also helped you as well with the lyric videos, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he did them himself. Like, fair play to him. Like, I'm useless to all that nonsense, so I don't know how on earth he does it. Like,
and they're fucking excellent too. Like, they really are good,
Yeah, the man's an absolute wizard. He knows exactly what he's doing with everything, and I think that will be the last lyric video we'll probably be getting from this release of songs.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It'll be other videos going forward.
He shot you in studio, and in which I envy in its final form.
Yeah.
Did he shoot that as well? Was he working with that, with the visuals and
the visualizer? Yeah, he did all that.
Fucking brilliant. And tell us about Stefan Fraser, who played the piano intro to that.
Stefan Fraser. Stefan is an absolute madman. I've been friends with him.
You'd never think it.
Since first year. Yeah. Taylor has also been, we've all been friends for a long time. He's been part of mine and Taylor's friend groups since we were kids. Like, I went to school with him, so I've known him since first year.
Really? Jesus.
Yeah, a long time. The guy is so musically talented. It's unbelievable. He plays violin, piano, guitar, and he's starting to do a bit of music production now as well. him and Josh have been, I know they've been having some conversations regarding like how to work certain elements and stuff with production tools.
Okay.
But yeah, we needed an intro for the album, something big, something epic, and we went for the intro that we went for. Stefan sent us over a structure he had put together, and then me, Stefan, and Josh worked together while sharing ideas with the band to make sure everybody was happy with what was happening.
Yeah.
And come out with the intro that we have. We're all quite happy with it.
Of course, yeah, it's very different. That's good, I think. If it's different, it's good. Having heard the first version of In Which I Envy and then hearing that, it actually makes perfect sense to have a piano at the start. And it's a great, probably credit to the band to recognize that as well, you know. Again, it's something different.
Yeah. Big shout out again to Josh and a massive shout out to Stefan for that one. Their work on it was fantastic. Yeah.
So future plans for you lads. I know we're all still stuck in this shitty lockdown. There's a lot of competition out there as well, especially up in Northern Ireland. You have a fantastic scene, one that I always love giving praise to. Well, I mean, once this whole thing is lifted, are you looking at tours? Are you going to come down south, or what are you looking, or how can people even book you?
Anything.
How can people book you?
All of the above, yeah. So
everything across the board, like anything we can get, we're going to do it. You know, like when we first started, the main thing was to do a lot of gigging, but after the metal to the masses, it just gave us that extra taste, and we're dying to just gig flat out.
Yeah,
like that's the dream, the American dream, man.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But like as I said, there's serious competition out there, isn't there?
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Nice.
We've got a couple of contacts. So obviously we're going to be gigging up here as much as possible. We're excited to do hometown gigs and do Belfast gigs and everything like that. And also, yes, we want to come down south as much as possible.
Yeah, well, you're coming to Cork whether you like it or not, lads. Tough luck.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I've been many's a time. I love it down there.
Cool.
Love it down there.
Cool.
So we're quite friendly with a band from England called Avira, who we've had a couple of chats with, and we're looking to go over and play Leeds with them.
Oh, nice.
And we've got another contact in Canada, a band called As the Structure Fails.
Right. Okay.
And we again want to sort of link up with those guys. We've had chats and conversations about them coming here to do a gig, us going over to do a gig. So our eyes are set firmly on the prize, and we do want to go further than just playing Belfast gigs all the time. As much as we love Belfast, as much as we want to go bigger.
You do know,
kick the door open.
You do know that the show is aired over in Canada, do you?
Yeah. So I was actually speaking to the guys from As the Structure Fails earlier.
Cool.
And yeah, they'll probably end up seeing this.
Yeah, man. It's a fantastic time for the metal scene in Ireland in general. The attendances are great, the whole lot, and if you're like me, going stir crazy at home, we had it really good before this shit happens. We had gigs in Cork once or twice a month. You'd wonder when this all clears, how many venues will even be left open to play bands.
The scene actually amazes me. I'm going to be honest. Before I came into this band, I had never really paid any attention to the Belfast scene or the down south scene. I was just like Machine Head, Lamb of God, and all the bands I only cared about. And once I got into this band, the amount of bands that are actually about, and great bands as well,
absolutely, yeah,
amazing,
yeah. Really, really talented bands from up here and down south. Tombs, They didn't get the recognition that they should have got at that gig. They were fantastic, in my opinion, anyway. And then we've got the Crawling from up here, who are unbelievable as well. Then you've got bands.
But do you not think, Gav and Taylor, like that? I think the Irish, and it is an underground scene. I think the Irish underground scene is definitely 100% one of the best in Europe for music and metal. It's incredible, like.
Yeah,
how knit together it is. I think it's how much music there is in such a small space of the world, and I think it's how close that community actually is as well.
Yes, very much so. Good point.
And everyone wants to help each other out.
Yeah,
it's spread each other stuff on social media, like all the videos. They're all helping each other, and it's good to see. There's no sort of spitefulness.
No, Christ,
from what I've seen.
No, there isn't, and I'll tell you that straight up. And like when I look at a band like ye now that have fucking terrific merch, doing it correct, and are releasing steadily music. I mean, come hopefully the summertime when this is all lifted, I can't see any issues with ye playing a Siege or moving around the rest of Ireland and getting gigs. No problem.
That would be. Yeah.
I've actually messaged the guys from Siege and they've never got back to me, so
don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Listen to his interview. He's on the podcast there, John Ard. So don't worry about that. He has you on record, man.
Good man.
Happy days.
We are very interested in playing Siege as well. Any festivals, any big gigs, anything we want to play. That's the reason we're all in this, and especially Daryl, our drummer. Like, his biggest drive is just playing. The man just wants to play drums.
Some drummer constantly. As well. Shout out.
He's in the team. Best that I work with.
Yeah.
Best
fantastic. Everybody is incredible. Stu and his composition is unmatched, in my opinion. The guy where he picks out small elements that need to change in the riff and the structure of the song is unbelievable. Tom, what he writes, those riffs come mainly from Tom. There's a couple. Obviously there's some riffs input from Taylor and from Stu.
Yeah.
But Tom fires out a lot of the riffs, and then Daryl is the man's just.
His legs are insane. Like
we sometimes practice for 4 hours at a time, and Daryl doesn't stop the whole way through. You know what I mean? Yeah. We'll have a quick cigarette break, but Daryl is drumming the whole way through. If you can imagine running or doing any other activity with your legs for 4 hours the way he does, you know what I mean? You live for Christy.
There's only a few of us would know that one, Gav. There's an update most weeks as well, which I really think that's always a great sign, keeping the fans involved in your activities.
That's what you don't want to just set up a social media and just have it sitting around for a couple of months doing nothing before you do anything. We had material straight away, like we weren't waiting around. We're like, this is us, make ourselves big as you can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, it is important, definitely, in this period of time anyway, where people are just literally sitting at home, just, fucking scrolling through countless hours of Netflix. But if you have a band that are just putting up new updates on Facebook once or twice every 2 weeks, it's great,
Yeah.
So that's why we kind of attacked it the way we did. So Taylor does Facebook, I do Instagram, and Stu does Twitter.
Okay.
So we wanted to make sure that there was somebody manned on each social media at all times.
Yeah.
We want people to feel like they can interact with us. Obviously you've got fans out there, people send a message and they'll not hear anything back ever. Or you'll send them a message and they'll reply to you 3 days later with something half-assed. We want people to know that we're there all the time. If people want to chat, people want to know anything. I've had people come to me on Instagram for vocal lessons. I've had people you know, from Germany, Texas, everything messaging us for merch.
Yeah.
Our merch has been, we've already sent our merch to like a lot of countries around the world as well.
It's great, man.
Well, not a lot of countries, a good handful of countries that we haven't touched yet, and we have a following there as well. So we wanted to make sure that we had that way for people to engage with us, so that people knew we were real.
Yeah.
People didn't just think of a social media band that weren't going to do anything, and that's also another reason for the way that we have released the singles the way we have. We've been releasing the album systematically and releasing it track for track because, in my honest opinion, with today's climate and social media and the way that people interact with content, you release 3 songs off an album, say the album's 12 tracks, I can almost guarantee that 5 or 6 of those songs aren't going to get heard by half of your fans.
Yeah.
Whereas you release every single song as a single with a video and something for everyone to interact with, something for somebody to listen to. That's going to give people something to enjoy, and also they're not having to wait for a year, 2 years for an album.
Even a simple,
you know,
even a simple thing like the playthrough as well. Brilliant.
Yeah, just another way for us to add content. And I know I mentioned there that obviously there's somebody on social media at all times, and that we are all doing something regarding the band at all times. If anybody ever had any ideas or anything that they want to see in regards to content from us, you are more than welcome to drop us a message.
Cool.
You're more than welcome to tag us. We want to hear back from people. You know, we want feedback. We want to give people the music that they want in the way that they want it. It's not just about us. A lot of bands, big bands as well, like famous metal bands and stuff, kind of take their music and they release it. They do what they want with it. Whereas with us, we want to write the best music we can, as well as writing music for the people who want to hear it.
Well said, Gav.
Yeah.
Well said. You couldn't argue with that, man. That's a great promotional speech as well.
Yeah. Shed a wee tear there.
So look,
Beautiful.
I'm going to say goodbye to you, lads. Thanks a million for coming on the show. I am a huge fan, and I'm going to convert a lot more to you as well. I promise you that, okay?
Bring them
Thank you very
on.
much. We massively appreciate it. We'll do what we can for you, and we big thank you from Tom, Stu, and Daryl as well.
Yeah,
those
shout out to
guys
the lads, yeah.
here, but they send their wishes over, and that all of us want to get down to Cork as soon as we can, have a drink, and play a show with you.
Absolutely. Everybody that's listening, please check out Survivalist. Subscribe to their YouTube channel, where you'll see their first 3 releases. All their stuff is on Spotify and iTunes as well. And once again, lads, thanks a million for coming on the show. And you're definitely one to watch in 2020, in my opinion, anyway.
Cheers, thank you.
Pretty good.
Thank you.
Cool, lads.
We're done.